Recording in progress. We love that. Let's see if our hour is working. What we see? Here we go.
Marie, what'd you have? Shoulder
Yeah, yes,
replacement?
yes.
Ah, I'm scheduled for December 2nd. Same thing.
What is yours?
I'm having my shoulder replaced.
Mine is reversed, where they reversed it. They put the socket where the ball used to be in the other, reversed it.
Wow, I'm not having that, but
Oh, okay.
it's still. How many weeks into you?
Pardon?
Did you just have it done or?
2 weeks ago today.
It's amazing.
It is.
And she's playing golf tomorrow, Wendy.
Yeah.
What?
You're playing golf tomorrow, right, Marie?
Oh, tennis game too. Yes, we'll do a double header.
That's the spirit.
Where'd you have it done?
Greenwich,
Basketball special surgery or?
boat. Yes, with Miller.
All right. Can anybody hear me? Can you hear me?
A little
Are we
echoey,
okay?
but yes.
Katie, can you hear me okay?
It's a little echoey, but yes, we can hear you.
I'm not sure about equity. That's my God sound. That's my God sound. All right. But no, but do I sound loud enough or no?
Oh, yeah.
I don't love my sound loud. Let me ask somebody I trust. Mark, can you hear me? Yes. No? Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. No, I just figured she would ask.
I don't know if he's spoken to you.
It's
We hear-
echoey.
We hear you, Rabbi, but it sounds like you're in an echo chamber.
Correct.
Yeah. It's hard to
Sounds
understand.
Let me just double check my audio. I am in echo canceling speakerphone mode. Let me try something else and see if it works.
Is this any different or better?
Much better.
Much
Like a
better.
hearing test. Much better.
Much better.
Is that much better? Thank you. Thank you. All right. Do you hear this? Okay, good. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. All right. I think we're okay. Oh my God. Jews. Try to please Jews. I'm telling you right now. Okay.
Jews and Jews.
All right. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. All right. Let me, I have handouts for people who are here. Those people who are not here, I have no handouts. Let's see.
That's all lost.
All righty. Look at that. I get to sign on it. How cool is that? How cool is that? It's so cool.
Hello, David Zabo.
Hello, Andrew. How are you?
Glad to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
And Wendy Brooks.
The old days, my pleasure. Michael.
We hand people in the garden room.
Oh.
That's what that is. It's 4 cameras.
All righty, we're gonna wait 1 more minute before we get cooking. I'm hoping that you guys have the handout or have access to it, right? That was sent along. Do you have that? No?
No, tell him it didn't.
No.
The handout was sent along with it. No? Was the handout not sent along?
No.
I tried to get it, but it didn't work.
You tried to get it, but it didn't work.
Is that correct?
Right.
No,
It might be my computer skills.
No. Well, if nobody got it, did anybody get the handout? No?
No,
No.
it wasn't on what John Lasseter said.
Okay, so hold on 1 second. Oh my God. Okay. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna make you small, not in a physical sense. Hi, Michael Nathan. It's in the Thursday email, says Michael Nathan.
No.
If you go to the Thursday email, the weekly email that was probably tonight too,
Wasn't there.
and you go to that on your Temple email, you will see the handout that's really important to have on our first coming home class.
All right.
Think
just
you
a
can
minute,
find
just a
it?
minute.
No,
Yeah, no, it's there. It's there.
It is?
Dave, tell us where it is.
It's
That's
near
what
the,
you get.
it's near the bottom,
Near the bottom.
just above, Jeff, the weekly video with Jeffrey.
Yeah, but if
and
you
Chris.
press it,
That's the
Oh.
Thursday one.
it says class handouts. This is what you get.
Right, that's what I got.
Yeah,
And then what?
yeah, I got something about Google Help.
Right,
That's what I got.
All right, let me try something else. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Let's just see if I can go to my temple. Oh,
First
God.
class tonight, class handouts here. Let me see.
Do you see anything?
No.
No, huh? Great. This is great.
Technology is not perfect.
Nobody can find the handout, huh? Oh my God.
Sue,
I got,
Sue, I need you.
I got it.
okay.
You have to press the PDF.
Wait, wait, did you find the handout?
No, I got Shabbat. Sorry.
But Shabbat, that was great. I love Shabbat. Shabbat's wonderful, but it's not my handout. Hold on one sec. Give me 1 second. I can't. believe it.
Jeffrey, I just sent it to your email. You should be able to paste it into
We
the
is
chat.
Cap Weeks.
I should be able to do.
same thing. I have the same thing as Wendy.
Oh wait, I should be able to get it on my temple. I just on my if I do this. Hold on one sec. Hold on one sec.
The help.
Because I should be able to share screen. I should share screen. Wait a sec. If I just open up this, you're coming home. Here it is. Right?
And just lost in another world.
Coming home. Isn't it here? Circle course. Is this it? Let's see.
So familiar. When I walk the streets,
Maybe this.
it's very family oriented.
No, that's the one. That's not it. No, I'm not the.
You see, you're
That's
holding up your
it.
head.
Let's see if this is it. Wait a sec.
My head.
Nope, that's not it. No. That was close, but no cigar. How about this?
This district, but the priority that's put on student wellness, I find to be truly excellent.
All right, now if I do this, watch this. Watch how technological savvy I am. Not. Okay, here we go. Wait a sec. And I do this. And I go share. Right?
Yes,
Do you see anything?
I did.
yes.
Yes.
Oh my God, am I excited? Okay, hold on a second. All right, wait a sec.
Can you maximize the screen?
Yes.
You can better.
Can I maximize the screen? I gotta do, what's that little box someplace?
Yep.
In the top right.
I just,
Top right. Where is it?
Right near the X.
Right near the X. I don't have an X.
Keep going, keep going.
Oh.
You're
Yeah,
almost
but where
there.
is it? Is it there?
Move your mouse to the left,
To the, over here? No, to the left?
and then a little up.
I feel like I'm scratching
Right
your
above-
back.
Jeff, do you
Hold on
see
a
where it
second.
says- You see where it says comments on the upper right?
Comments on the upper right. There is no comments. Oh yeah, right there?
Right
And
above
then
it.
Right
above
here?
that, there's a box.
That box?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work. No.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
that's-
Wait a minute.
I'm so
The
glad I'm
only
not the
problem is
only
you're
one.
gone. The only problem is that you're gone. So wait a second. What is this? Let's see.
There's the open screen box is up there next to the X.
Yeah, I just lost them,
Yeah.
which is not good. So hold on one second. Oh, I know why. Wait a second. I do this. Do this. I'm gonna minimize this. They should be there. And now where did I just do with this? Let's see. Let's see. This? No. Let's see. No. Is this it? Is this it? No. So what did I just do with the screen? The thing. How do I go back and get it again? I was so good. Oh, is this it? No. Where is
Adrian
it?
on a separate screen.
Share.
I'll try this again. I'm gonna do it again. It's my last effect. No, I think
No,
I
that's
killed it.
Take back.
Wait a sec. I'm gonna try this one more time, and then if I don't do it well, we're all going for dinner. I'm gonna go back to this. I'm going to this one, coming home, session 1. And I'm gonna go back to this. And if I can't maximize the screen, we're gonna have to deal. All right. And then I have this. So I'm gonna put you guys over here. All right. I'm gonna.
Can't we take the
Well, I
form?
don't think so.
They do the share screen. Don't automatic.
No, they're gone. Yeah, can you guys see them, or I can't see you?
No.
We can see each other.
Right.
That's a beautiful thing, very covenantal of you, but I want to see you too. So hold on one sec. Let me see if I can find you. It's not, you're on my other screen. That's what keeps happening. So hold on one sec. Don't go away. I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to minimize this. Let's see if you're here. There you are. And I'm going to try this last time. And I'm going to do it one more time, which is where? What did I just do
I
with it?
found the file, but it's zipped. It's a zip file. I downloaded it, but it has to be
How did
unzipped
he
and all
get it
this.
before?
Unless you can send us a PDF.
Yeah, but I had wait a second. I still had it right here. I don't know why it's not doing this. Okay, wait a second. So we have this here. We're gonna go back to here. I'm so good at this. Can you tell?
She's playing with it too. She's trying.
Yeah.
There you go, right there. Go. Good share.
All right. We're gonna leave it at this only because I'm afraid if I do anything else.
Yep,
Is that okay, guys?
yes.
We can see it. We can't read it, but it's fine. Maybe I can print it. No?
You can't read it.
No,
It
you
is-
can read it. You can read it.
We can
Small.
read it. Home is a concept, not a place. Da-da-da-da.
It's fine.
But I believe it. I can't see.
Well, those of you who have really good eyesight, I guess. For us, it looks a
We
little
can't make it
small.
bigger.
Can I zoom it? Let's see if I can zoom it. How do I zoom it,
Our
guys?
true, most sacred selves. So we can
Oh, no,
read
what
it.
if I do this? Wait a minute. What if I do this? Can I just do this and
Yes,
click it
yes.
this way? That's really big. Oh, my God.
Now it's really
That's
big.
pretty good.
Is that better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can read that.
Yeah, we can read that.
Yeah, I can read that. Great.
Would anybody like the hot fudge sundae? I'm just asking, you know. The little plus will get a little bigger. Okay, let's see.
Home is a concept, not a place. Blah, blah, blah.
How's that?
Bear that in mind.
If Andy can
Right.
read it, that's
That'll
gonna be
be all
enough.
right if I can go down. No, but you have.
I'm exhausted. I'm telling you. These Jews are so needy. It's unbelievable. Okay. Folks, it's so good to see everybody. I have no idea who's here, but I could see who's here. I do see you, and it's wonderful that you're here. We have, in the garden room, we have, I'd say 40, 50 people. It's great. We have 8 people in the garden room and another, I don't know, 12, 14 online. It's great. This is our first session of Coming Home. How is Judaism a journey home? And each month, we're going to explore a different aspect of that coming home in a very different way. And today is all about how Judaism is a coming home to the self. You would think that's obvious. It's not so obvious, nor is it obvious to many of us in living our lives. And so what I'm going to do is take you through the whole idea of coming home. It makes sense for most of us that it's this year's congregational covenant learning theme. As some of you who are at the holiday services or were there online, remember. It's a perfect year for coming home, and there's a lot of ways to come home. But specifically, the question for us will be, why is it crucial, and how do we find home by growing into ourselves? That sounds, like a very psychodynamic thing. It's actually very spiritual. And it's embedded within the Jewish mission to be our most sacred selves. That's part of who we are. The theoretic is from Bart Giamatti. Bart Giamatti, it's very important, was the great professor of classics at Yale, who became the commissioner of baseball, ta-da, and wrote the most poetic, prolific things about baseball, but he was actually talking about, I think, us as Jews, and about spirituality and what it means to come home. I'm going to read this first thing, and then I'm going to have other people read the other stuff. I'm going to make a rule, since we have less than 15 people here. If you're reading or you want to talk, and is anybody here not vaccinated? Thank you. So everybody here is fully vaccinated. We're going to lower our masks as we read. That's okay with me. You want to breathe a little bit? Go ahead. Here we go. Home is a concept, not a place, a state of mind where self-definition starts. It is origins, wherein one first realizes he or she is an original, perhaps like others, especially those one loves, but distinct, discrete, not to be copied. Right? He's talking, by the way, about our journey as Jews from the very beginning, if you think about it. And our journey as children of Israel, even writ large. Home is where we first learn to separate ourselves and to remains a place where reunion, if it ever would occur, would happen. We're going to be able to apply this directly to the story we're going to use from Torah for tonight. Home is about restoration of the right relations and going home.
Scroll down. You have to scroll down, or.
Oh, I have to scroll down. You know, you really want everything. I know that. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can just minimize you a little more. Scrolling down. Did I scroll down? How did I do that?
Scroll
Too
down
far.
too far, though.
You went too far.
Keep going, go ahead.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Home is about restoration of the right relations. And going home is where that restoration occurs, because that is where it matters most. The concept of home has particular resonance for a nation of immigrants, all of whom left one home to seek another. Stability, a sense of oneness, the first clearing in the woods. To attempt to go home is to go the long way around, to stray in the hopes of finding completeness, reunion, reintegration with those left behind. To truly go home may be impossible, but it's a driving necessity, our compelling dream. Giamatti wrote this as part of it was really his address at the University of Michigan Law School. But if you really apply it, he's talking about our journey as peoplehood of Israel, certainly as children of Abraham and Sarah. Every single thing he said applies to us as children of Abraham, the call. And so we're gonna come back to this spirituality thing at the very end. I don't know why I put it here. I should have put it at the end, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. So now turn to the second page. Yes, I'm gonna scroll down. Everybody remain calm. Remain calm, you know. All right, here we go. I know we read this a couple of weeks ago, but it's going to apply in a very different way today. And tonight, if you come to Cover Torah in this very room, we actually studied part of this, but not to this end. How is the prototypical, in fact, the preeminent journey of Abraham and Sarai, or Avram and Sarai, how is it a journey home? And what does that mean? You'll see the connections very clearly. We're going to go right around the circle. We're going to start with Lisa, right? So we have first the Rashi, Lech Lecha. What does this mean? We know that Abraham is called, go forth from your land, your birthplace, your father's house to the land that I will show you. But Rashi says something very important.
For your own benefit and good, there I will make of you a great nation, but here you will not even merit children.
So Rashi is saying something very rabbinic and medieval, but you know, if Rashi is the French winemaker commentator in the 11th century, what's he saying? He's saying, if you stay home, you're not going to come to much. First of all, you know, you're going to be in your own bedroom. Who wants to live in their own bedroom until they're 73? It just doesn't, it's not good, not healthy. You got to go out there. So it's about leaving home somehow, right? To become who you need to be. Lech Lecha, the actual 2 words Lech Lecha are prototypical, and the Midrash tells us why we need to leave home. I just, by the way, met with post-confirmation as Robin saw me at the diner. There were, I don't know, 13, 14 kids. It was great. And last week, not this week, I asked the kids, based on this Abraham journey, how many of your parents are going to feel sad when you go to college? And most all of them raised their hand. And I said, how many of you were going to feel sad? No. 0. No one. So they might feel sad, by the way,
Meets
but they
with the
don't
kids
think
at the diner.
right? They know they're going to go forth to something new and wonderful. And it's exciting. So if Avram stayed home, Tom Landau, read the Bereshit Rabbah, what would Avram be?
When the Holy One called to Abraham, what did he resemble? A jar of perfume hid into way so no fragrance could escape. But in his leaving, the lid loosened, jar now opened, and Abraham's goodness began to spread.
So you had to take the lid, the cap off the perfume. The fragrance otherwise would be kept inside. You have to leave home. What does the word lech lecha mean? I can even draw it for you. I don't know if this is going to work, because how am I going to do this on the screen? But I'll show you. Remain calm. Here we go. So we have, I'll do it this way. Right, I'm still here. Don't worry, I didn't go anyplace.
This is why it's so hard for kids to do online learning.
Exactly, Mark. You're absolutely right. It's so hard for kids. So look, if I hold this up on my screen, can you see this?
See Hebrew
Everybody
word.
see this?
They can't be kosher.
No.
Oh, my screen share is covering. I see. You know what? As I said, you don't need that. Oops. So, oh my God, this is so good. I can. Oh my God. So, lech lecha. What does it mean? It means go to you. What does that mean, go to you? It really doesn't mean go to you. The Hasidim, all the Hasidic rabbis, I don't mean the current Hasidim who live in Borough Park or Muncie. I mean classic Hasidic commentary understood lech lecha differently, right? So Judy, give us the Mea Shiloach, the Ishbitzer.
God's first words to Abraham literally means take yourself, as the Midrash interprets. Go forth to discover your authentic self, to learn who you are meant to be.
So leaving home means learning who you're meant to be.
But you're also going somewhere.
I'm gonna leave it unless it's Carol. So go there.
You're also going.
Who is it? Oh, yeah, Sheila.
Wait.
Went on a conference call, call you back.
Let me do this.
She told you
I'll
to class.
Okay, bye.
So as I've muted you all now, because I love you so much, but I do. Judy just said something crucial, especially as somebody who understands therapeutics and psychology. You said?
You're going somewhere between faith and trust. And I think the Hebrew word is emunah.
You're on a journey between faith and trust to become, so you have to leave. Let me ask everybody this question. So to be what you're meant to be, how many people here or online had their parent or grandparent tell them what they were going to become in life? All right, I'm going to take a few in the room, and then I'm going to see, how that worked out. Okay, we're going to come to you, Laura, in a minute. So go ahead. You were going to become?
So I said to my father, what am I going to do, right? I was barely 19. I was a junior in college, very young. And I had a 1A draft card in my pocket in 1960. And my father said, you can go to medical school or you can go to the Army.
Well, there you go. So what he was meant to be, or what it was good for him to be, right?
Whatever.
Okay. Who else?
Oh, by the way, I got to go to the Army anyway.
And he went to the Army, that's true, as a doc.
My mother told me what I was going to be, and I said, no, and I didn't be that.
Okay, so you had a parent tell you what you should be, and you said that. No. All right. No? Anybody? Charlie? Oh, what's I'll get you. Tom.
I wanted to be a musician since I was like 10, 11 years old.
Okay.
So nobody told me what they wanted me to be. They just said, better get it for your kid.
Okay. Okay. All right. Rabbi Charlie.
You know, practically from birth, my father said you're following the line and you're becoming a rabbi.
Right.
So
Right.
it was he always said it was in the DNA.
All right. In the DNA. All right. Andy Harrison, and then I'm going to go to Laura.
So I'm sure that the conversation I had with my father was something like this in 1971 or 72. So do you want to go to business school? I don't think I have a head for that, Dad. Do you want to stay in your major and go on to academics in English literature? I don't think I'm cut out to be an academic, Dad. Well, do you want to go in the Army? I'd prefer not to. It's the Vietnam era, Dad, even though I have a medium-high draft number. Well, how about law school? Well, maybe somebody by going to law school, and maybe it'll be, he sort of nudged me a little bit without exactly telling me the direction in which I should go.
Okay, that was by the way smart, right? So he tried to map out your direction without being demonstrative. Okay, Laura.
So basically, I was told you should be a social worker by my father, who was a man of few words. So I became a social worker. And it's been a great fit, but but I did not go out, quote unquote, and explore other things. So as life went on, I came to understand that there were many more things I probably would have loved doing. I'm not going to say more, but differently. A whole other side of me that was yet to be tapped into.
So exploring, fulfilling your parents' dream, right? Could be nice, but maybe you're on your own journey. I was in 17 and a half, turning 18, and I was in my first year between high school and college in Israel from a youth leadership, Zionist youth movements from around the world. And I applied to art school from there and got into art school. And then I came to art school. My father said, great. And then I went to art school for a semester, and I said, I deferred my mission at BU. I want to go to BU. And he said, okay, great. My father never once told me what I should be. My father never went to college. He was a ceramic supply manufacturer and worked for some other company. He knew he didn't want me to do that, but what I should do, who knows? No? So here's the question. Are you continuing your parents' journey somehow by becoming what they hope? Here's what most of us don't know. Avram was continuing his father's journey. We think Avram was called. Oh my God, he heard God in the middle of the night. It's one of those Woody Allen moments. If you look at the book Without Feathers, God's speaking to him. He gets up and he says, do you hear the voice? He says, I hear a voice at 2 a.m. I'm in my underwear. What am I supposed to do? I'm listening. So Avram heard the voice, but not because somebody else before him didn't hear the voice, we think. Terach, together with his son Avram and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, and his grandson Lot, all set out from Ur of the land of to the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. The total of Terach's years were 205, and Terach died in Haran. In other words, Avram going to the land of Canaan was a continuation of exactly what his father was doing. But his father stopped, settled, maybe in both ways, settled. So take a look now, right? Michelle Greenberg, can you see the text, the Moshe Greenwald?
Yep.
Give us the Moshe Greenwald.
Okay. How often does an awakening come to an average person that he needs to break out, to ascend, to climb higher? But in the midst of the journey, something stops him from going further? Then there are the righteous who do not stop halfway. This was the essential difference between Terah and Avram, his son. For Terah, too, had that awakening. a spiritual pull that led him towards Canaan, but he stopped. Avram, however, was not satisfied. He saw the road ahead and had the will to go on, and so the call came.
So maybe the call came because he realized, in a way, he was fulfilling his father's journey. But the father never had either the strength, the courage, the wherewithal, the direction to fulfill. How many of us, just random, how many of us somehow in life have continued our parents' journey? All right, how?
My dad was a broadcaster, he was in TV, and I was a journalist.
All right, cool. Cool. I didn't know your dad was in TV. That's so cool. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Jeff, we can't hear what people are saying in the room. Could you repeat?
I'm not allowed, no. Lisa said that she was continuing her dad's journey, who was David Chase, worked for NBC. Wait a minute, I know who your father was.
Not
Not that guy?
Not the Sopranos.
Oh, not the Sopranos guy? Okay.
He worked in TV, and when I was a little kid, I remember watching when the day of the Kent State shooting.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Going to work and thinking, I'm gonna do something like that.
Yeah.
So I became a journalist.
A wonderful journalist. Awesome. Awesome. Right? So sometimes we fulfill our parents' journeys, but as you heard what Bart Giamatti said, and I think wisely, home is where we first learn to be separate ourselves, and it remains the place where reunion, if it ever were to occur, would happen. So leaving home is about the necessary separation in order to become ourselves. Watch what Larry Kushner says, which I think is pretty transformational. Take a look. I'm going to try to scroll down a little bit for these folks. I think I can. Here we go.
Yeah. Good.
Got it? Is that good?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Rabbi Charlie is going to beautifully read Rabbi Larry Kushner.
The text could have just read, and Avram set out. That would have been mythically elegant, but instead God gets personal. The first thing God says to the first Jew is, leave your parents' home. And as the ancient rabbinic dictum has it, what happens to the parents is already a sign of what will happen to the children. The great unending psycho-spiritual task of every human being is separating from his or her parent. Loved or hated, near or far, living or long dead, it is never done. We spend our days trying to be who we imagine we want to be, and not who they wanted us to be. We strive with all our cunning to infuriate them, even as we secretly yearn to make them smile and fulfill their secret dreams. But before we can finish, or even figure out what's going on, we have our own children, and the whole thing starts all over again from the other side. In any case, the text is clear. Doing business with this new, imageless, and as yet unnamed God means to leave home, to commence the struggle, to believe until your dying breath that you will break free from their orbit. But as you grow older, much older, you would be grateful if you could just strike the balance between your parents and yourself, and between yourself and your children. Maybe that is the land that God will show us and what it means to be a blessing.
Pretty cool. Maybe, right? For some, maybe for all. Kushner's saying something I think so important about the nature of the journey, which is participants now see your application. I don't know what that means. Okay. Did somebody raise their hand that's online? I don't even know. No? What is Kushner trying to tell us about the nature of the journey? Sometimes it comes full circle. It's only when we, God willing, become parents, have children of our own, that we understand what our parents meant. Very true. Very true. Inevitably. It's also sometimes in having children that we understand in retrospect why we've come this way. Sometimes our children teach us and lead us. Sometimes our parents who are long gone still lead us. And if we can strike a balance between generations, we become a bridge. And so the journey is fulfilled and continues, not easily. Has anybody here had an experience with a child helped to clarify what their journey was about? I'll let you think about it for a second. Where your child has helped to clarify what your life journey is and what it means. You may not be able to answer the question right away. I have an answer, but I'm not going to share it. Judy.
Our youngest daughter, Lori, said to me one day after she had her own children and her own career, she said, you know, you are the glue that stuck us together. And I really appreciate now what you did to make it all happen. And we didn't even know how active you were. And she said, I tried some of those things now. A little tape goes off. She said it never went off before I had kids.
So did everybody hear that? Did you hear that Judy Landau say? So her daughter, right, a physician, right, recognizes that she was the glue that held family together, and her daughter hears her voice in her head. A little tape goes off that she tries to play back in order to act in similar ways to connect her kids and keep her family.
But it took her until she was a senior in college to think that it's unlike her father.
She wasn't going to be a doctor just because her father was a doctor or her mother, right? So it's right. So where does this journey lead us? Very important. Where does the journey lead? It leads somehow to understanding you are called. What does that mean? That we're all children of Abraham and Sarai, and so we're all called. Somebody online, Dave Zabo, how do you feel about Peter Pitzler? I know it's a classic name. He's a professor of biblical psychodrama at Columbia. Give us the Pitzler.
It was Abraham who first understood that spiritual light comes to the one who goes by way of darkness, power to the one who has given up power, victory to the one who has surrendered, and that life is given to the one who has died. Abraham speaks to the part of me that wanders, speaks to those times in my life when I have felt adrift in a universe that is haunted by mystery and that bears strange, elusive meanings. The bustle of life in Haran recedes suddenly into deep shadow. A man, apparently no one special, is arrested in the middle of things. The flow of his life is interrupted by a voice. It addresses him, no context. Is that correct? No context?
Yeah, because remember, chapter 11, Terach is leaving. Chapter 12, it says, Vayomer Adonai el Avram lech lecha me'artzecha. And then it says, and God called to Avram, go forth from your land, your father's house, your native country, to the land that I will show you.
So
Without, nope, why? What was on Abraham? He was right. He was just out of nowhere. Exactly. And he directs him and says, leave and go. Keep it going, Dave. Terach's dream.
Let me finish this one first. No preparation, no proof, just a man hearing a voice, which calls to him, summons him, directs him, leave and go. Terach's dream to reach Canaan has gone unfulfilled. Abraham is called the completed, but in a way his father could never have imagined. Avram will become Abraham and pass the dream on, unfulfilled, to his son Isaac, then Isaac to his son Jacob, and still the dream is unfulfilled. Each generation renews the dream in its own terms, responding to the very same summons.
Right. So just to interrupt, because this is the kicker when we're going to read this paragraph in a big way, we each pass on the dream, and the dream is unfulfilled. What did Bartimaeus say? The attempt to go home is going the long way around. To stray in the hopes of finding completeness, to truly go home may be impossible, but it is a driving necessity, our compelling dream. So the idea of coming home, metaphorically, may be impossible. But now watch what Peter Pitzler does and says. Brilliant. Go ahead, Dave. You got the kicker.
This generational enterprise remains alive and potent precisely and paradoxically because it is never completely fulfilled. It is the message of Abraham that each generation must be called to the journey. Each one's call is also a recollection, a recalling of previous calls. The dream outlives the dreamers. It asks to be remembered in every generation, but every generation must dream anew. Whenever the father has settled and died, the child must set out again into a wilderness to live the dream, to answer the call.
And so why is that so, I think, compelling and important? What does that say about the Jewish enterprise and about what we're about? We're all called, right? To live is to be called. What is Abraham called to? There's one commandment, one little command form in that initial call. It's 2 words, V'hyeh baracha, and you be a blessing. I guess that's 4 words in English, right? Right, 5 words, and you be a blessing. We are called to be a blessing. The question is how? Because the way I'm going to bless the world is going to be different than the way Robin blesses the world, or the way Marie blesses the world, because we're all different sacred selves, but we each have something special to bring. To recognize that and to respond is the core. That's what it means to be who we are. Right? Growing up in a 2-family house with my grandparents living downstairs and us living upstairs, the highest compliment I could get from my bubby, who lived downstairs, who fed me after school every day, so I had to wear husky pants, right? I remember, right? Was, if I would, whatever I would do, if I was like going out to play, she would say, be a mensch. That was her be a blessing. Same thing. She knew I was going out into the world. Anything could happen on 10th Avenue where I grew up. Things did. I was a good guy. But that was the goal, be a blessing. No one generation fulfills it. We are all in search of it. To be a part of the people of Abraham and Sarai, of Abraham and Sarah, is to know you're not going to reach home. Fulfillment. Andrew Harrison.
So I'm not sure how much of this is Jewish and how much of this is a human condition, common to all of us, or common at least to all Americans. Our parents, Adrian's parents and my parents, were children of the Depression. They had to go out and get a job. You know, Adrian's dad came home from the war. He, might have wanted to go to Cornell, would have gone to Cornell, but he had to get on with his education faster, so he went to the University of Illinois. Maybe he should have been an accountant, would have been good at it, but he ended up selling knits. So the knit goods in the garment center. And my father, he wanted to be a journalist, maybe came out of Dartmouth in the depths of the Depression. He had to get a job. He ended up being a bubblegum salesman, sales manager for Topps Chewing Gum. But he wanted his sons to be professionals. And so my brother became a doctor. I became a lawyer. Adrian became a doctor. I think we fulfilled those hopes to be something different, better, in quotes, than our parents. Our kids' generation take a different tack altogether. They don't buy into that model of go to the best college you can, go to the best graduate school you can, go to the best firm you can. They take a much more circuitous route to their career paths. At least that's been our experience. So I'm not sure. It sounds like it should be all Jewish, but it sounds more like this is America in the post-Depression, post-war.
I'm going to respond to that in a minute. First, I want to let Dave. First, I love your point, and I love the story. But Dave, go ahead.
I just was in reading. I saw the last sentence in the second to last paragraph where it says, "Each generation renews the dream in its own terms." He didn't say on its own terms, which I think is.
Meaning what? What's the distinction? Dave. In its own terms. What does that mean?
In its own terms is how they're going to speak of it, how they're going to define it. On their own terms means that, to me, means that they're going to be doing it, in a different way. So I think that it's not necessarily going to be done in a different way, although it could be, expressed differently.
Right. And so Yeah, so very wise and very important. What I would say is, Andy, which is an important distinction, is you're talking about profession, right? You're talking about we become this, right? We're going to become a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, a therapist, okay, right? A cardiologist. However, that's not what Peter Pitzel is talking about. He's talking about vocation, calling. Yeah, you're fine. You're a doctor. How are you fulfilling the dream? How are you fulfilling the call? Right? I happen to be in a profession that's my vocation. The truth of the matter is, I teach rabbinic students, as you know, every Thursday. So I taught them today. And the little Torah text we studied, I told them that they were called to be themselves. If you are thinking, I'm going to be a rabbi and I'm going to be like that rabbi, and you're going to be in trouble because you're going to be fulfilling somebody else's vision of what a rabbi is. But you're going to be missing, they're going to be missing the greatest gift you have to give, which is you. Be you. Be the cantor who is you. Nobody else can do that. If you're the cantor who sings and talks in that big voice and, isn't a genuine, authentic human being who's vulnerable and broken, it's not really going to be achieving or responding to your call. But we don't have to be a cantor or a rabbi to be that.
Jeffrey,
So what, go ahead, question.
one of the biggest compliments I ever got was a few years ago by a gentleman who owned a deli that my kids and I used to go to. And he said to me, you have 3 daughters and each one of them is so different. I went around and gave them the biggest hug and I said, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted them to be their own person.
Right. So, by the way, I don't disagree. I love that, Susan. I don't disagree with Andy Harrison because I have children too. But I have different children. So I have one child who wants to be exactly what Andy Harrison was, high achieving, doing all those things as professional as well off as possibly can be, right? Then I have other children and 2 other children who really couldn't care less. They don't care. But what they are is true to themselves. They love their friends, love life, celebrate every day.
But we succeeded to allow them to be free.
So Michael just did it. Do you hear what Michael said? Brilliant. But we succeeded to allow them to be free. I would say to be who they need to be. Which means one generation, right, links the next generation in trying to become its best, most sacred self. How do you get there? What's the way you should walk? I'm going to show Andy Harrison and everybody else why this is very Jewish. All right, we're going to quote Pirkei Avot. That's almost 2,000 years ago. And I'm going to scroll down because I don't want any of these Jews yelling at me. Hold on one second. Right, here we go. This is the way. What's the way we should walk? Watch how brilliant Pirkei Avot is, small tractate in the Talmud, badly translated, the ethics of our fathers. It is the great wisdom of our ancestors. Where are we? Where are we? I don't know where we are. We're wrong. Go. Right. So now remember, we're out searching for the way home. What is the way we should walk? What is the Pirkei Avot trying to teach us? Very important. And Mark Green, I could ask you about this in a minute. Why is a good heart the encapsulation of all those other qualities? Anybody?
Because you have to have a good heart to be a good friend and a good neighbor.
Oh, you have to have a good heart to be a good friend and a good neighbor. Okay, we're going to build on that. Rabbi Charlie?
A good heart is being immense.
A good heart is being immense. Okay. If you want to say somebody is wise in biblical Hebrew, what do you say? They are chacham lev, wise of heart. Why? Did we think that people who get along well in life and live as a blessing are smart here? No, they're smart here. It's emotional intelligence. That's what makes somebody a blessing in the world. You could be a smart cookie. You could be very smart. And you could be a schmendrick, right? You could be a mean human being. You can be inconsiderate and egocentric. But wise in heart, you can't be. So that is a key to finding the way, maybe the way home. This is also the benzoma, which is another piece to finding the way as we walk on our journeys, right? Give us the benzoma, right? The benzoma. No. Keep going around. Keep going around the circle. Keep going around the circle. Give us the benzoma.
Benzoma said, who is wise? One who learns from every person. Who is strong? One who masters his evil impulse. Who is rich? One who rejoices in what he has. Who is honored? One who honors others.
Why is this brilliant Torah for the journey? What is it saying in essence? Which is why I'm trying to answer Andy Harrison's question indirectly. When you think who is wise, what do you think? Somebody really wise, a sage, they have all this knowledge, maybe they're a scientist. No. It's one who's open to learning from everybody, right? Who is strong? One who's a master of him or herself. One who doesn't lose it. Who's rich? Hasameach bechalko. The one who is fine and happy with what he or she has. And who's honored? The one who brings honor to other people. It's counterintuitive, the way of Israel, the way of Abraham and Sarah. Right? Some of us are in the service business, right? I'm going to point to one who I know is in the service business in the most direct way, right? I see her when I'm pointing to Lisa Chase. I see her driving by the Grange, setting up tables. Then I see her later on in the day serving people at tables. I did that when I was a rabbinic student for a year, right? My wife was the cook at Norman's, the best and first burger joint in Jerusalem. I set up the tables along with Jane Wolfman, who is Rabbi Wolfman's wife. And I was behind the counter. And I saw what it meant to wait on people and to serve people. And these four sort of keys are crucial because it would be so easy for Lisa Chase to be angry and distressed most all the time in dealing with her clientele and customers. It'd just be easy, but she's not. You're tempted, but she's not. So in a way, we're all in the service industry, but we don't realize it. We're all meant to serve one another and to make any moment we can an opportunity, right? A doctor's in the service industry. A doctor isn't, right? Just saying, oh, medically, you're right. Tom Lando was my doctor. The reason I liked him wasn't because he was a brilliant, clinician or diagnostician. He was, but because he was a nice guy. And I loved him. I still do. So it's about serving. That's what makes us a blessing. You don't need to read the Mark Angel. It's very good, but it doesn't really matter. Don't worry about Mark Angel. Do we need this? What time is it? No, we don't need this. I won't have time. So now if we think about the journey and think about actualizing ourselves, taking the perfume lid off and going where we're going and reaching, sort of going towards home, even if we never get there. trying to fulfill who we're meant to be. What's the great guidance that we get along the journey? I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3 Hasidic tales, because they're, I think, the best wisdom for the journey to becoming our most sacred self. Somebody online that hasn't read, Laura, you want to read? You look so ready, right? This is Rabbi Bear of Radoshes. Can you see this one?
Yeah. Rabbi Bear of Radoshes once asked his teacher, the seer of Lublin, "Can you show me the way to serve God?" The seer replied, "The way to God is through eating, and the way to God is through fasting. The way to God is through teaching, and the way to God is through praying. The way to God is through speaking, and the way to God is through silence." Rabbi Bear did not understand, so the seer explained, "Each person should carefully choose the way that his heart draws him to, and follow that way with all of his strength and spirit. For the person who tells you he's found the one has, in truth, found none."
What is this telling us about the journey? About the journey to self and self-actualization?
It is what you make it.
It's what you make it. It's no one way. If somebody tells you they know the way you should walk, you tell them, I walk this way. I walk with a limp. It's what I'm comfortable. So there's no one way. Nobody knows the way. Not the way to God, not the way to sacred service. And by the way, you could be doing something for a long time in your life and then decide, I'm going to go a different way. That's wonderful, because you are exploring those possibilities. Maybe the ones you didn't explore as a kid. And by the way, you could be a retiree, a little bit older, and explore different ways. And that may get you closer to the home that is your most sacred self. Not only that, but on the journey, this is one of my favorite stories of all time. We're going to go with Sheila. Go ahead. Read Rabbi Yechiel Michal, the Maggid of Zlotcha. And by the way, I have not made these names up. They're real. Go ahead.
Rabbi Yechiel Michal, later the Maggid of Zlotcha, sought out the Baal Shem Tov when he was quite young, but was not sure whether to become one of his Hasidim. But one day the Baal Shem took Yechiel Michal on a journey. When they'd been driving the carriage for a while, it became clear they were not on the right road. "Why, Rabbi Yechiel asked, don't you know the way?" "It will make itself known in due time," answered the Baal Shem, and they took a different road. Yet this one too did not lead them to the destination. "Why, Rabbi Yechiel asked, have you lost your way?" "I may not quite know where I am going," the Baal Shem explained, "but I never lose the way."
What's the pun here, and what does that mean? I'm not going to answer the question. It's up to you. What's the great Hasidic master, the founder of Hasidism teaching about the way?
It's within you.
It's within you, but he's saying something else. He's saying something more, which is crucial and which makes me feel really good as a person who gets lost regularly and who has a bad sense of geographic direction.
Yeah, me too.
There's not one way, and
You're not lost. When you're going somewhere, you're not necessarily lost. You're on the road that you're on the road to. And whatever you see and wherever you're going, you're learning and you're being and you're doing that, and it's okay.
Love it, love it. What else? Somebody else said something else over here?
You're never lost.
You are, as long as you're on the journey, you're never lost. And you may need to get lost in order to be found. How crucial is that? You may need to explore, to lose your individual way, to wander in order to find your way. Which my wife, may she rest in peace, would hate, because she always said, you're not going to stop and ask directions. I said, no, we'll just keep going, it'll be fine. We eventually got there. But this is not about a physical journey. This is a metaphysical journey. It's the spiritual journey we walk. Adrian.
I think this is essentially what Andy was saying, that what our kids' generation does, they're not necessarily going in as straight a line, and they're allowing themselves to get lost on different roads.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. It's something that when I was in college, the first question my aunts asked me or my uncles was, so what are you going to be? What are you studying? What are you going to be? I mean, you know, I don't know. I was studying everything, you know, that would help me be who knows what. You know, I was taking courses with great Jewish teachers. I didn't know what I was going to be. I was going to do something very Jewish or very religious or spiritual. But they wanted to know, I mean, are you going to be an investment banker? Are you going to be a lawyer? Are you going to, you know, what? So, but now our kids don't go to college for that reason. Most of them, some of them do. But becoming a profession is not the avocation of being a blessing. Lisa Turns.
It sort of seems like what he's saying is that things will work out. Eventually, you'll be on the where you were supposed to be going to.
Yeah, yeah. So so the Baal Shem is saying something beautiful, which is, if you're on the journey, you are on the way. Sounds silly, but I don't think it is. Michael.
So we told our kids they could do what they wanted, right? Everybody says to their kids, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah, I know. We weren't serious though. Didn't they understand that we didn't mean that? We meant make a living, right?
You know what? I think if I was this Maggie that was in the carriage with the Baal Shem Tov, I think I would not have joined him. This would not have been my style.
Yeah. But what's the Baal Shem saying? The Baal Shem is trying to show the existential nature of human life, and certainly of our lives, which is most of the time we are lost. We are trying to figure out where it is we're going. Yeah, we know what we have to do in the course of a day, but in our lives, inside, growing towards something greater awareness, right? Where are we going? And so the Baal Shem knew you have to go on the journey in order to figure it out. Right? And of course, how do we find the guidance? I'll give you the last story. Michael gets the last story.
I used to have a complaint to Rabbi Israel of Richard. When I am studying, I always feel the light, but the moment I stop studying, the light is gone. What shall I do? The Rabbi Richard explained, it is just as when a person walks through a forest in a dark night and for a time joins another lantern in hand. At the crossroads they part, and the first man must grope his way home alone. Yet if a person carries his own light inside, he need never be afraid of the darkness.
Right. Classic Hasidic tale, and beautiful. Which says, what? So this rabbi who goes to the Rabbi Israel of Rishon is saying, if I'm studying Torah, I feel the light. But once I'm done, the light's gone. It's like I'm walking through a dark forest. And Rabbi Israel replies, that's because you think the light's outside you. The light's inside you. It's within you. So if you understand that the light comes from inside, you'll never be afraid, and you'll always have a light to shine on the way. How do we help the light shine inside? That's the question. What does it mean to help the light, right? So this is all about self-actualization, but in a very Jewish way, Andy, a very Jewish way, right? Especially taking these three Hasidic stories, right? Number one, there is no one way to the sacred service and self-actualization. Number two, it's okay to be lost, to be on the road and not know exactly where you're going, because that may be the only way. You will find your way. And number three, on that road, on the journey, the light doesn't come from some source. You're not gonna, right? You can go to the guru all you want, but that's not where the answer is gonna come from. It's gonna come from in here.
Yeah, but how do you train your children in what should be in there? You want to teach
So
them
how do you
ethics?
train your children what should be in there? Well, we just shared, right, some of the Pirkei Avot, right, which you just saw, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's the sacred wisdom of the teachings that we do, but it's you know, I think it's all of the life traditions that we pass on and the values that we try to embody. But wait, we have a question here.
Well, I'm just wondering, there's a lot of talk about the light inside, and speaking away. And I'm just wondering, what about self-actualization or your identity coming from being in relation to another?
Yeah. So I was about, it's perfect. So perfect. So, right. So I was about to answer my question, but I didn't have to, right? So the light comes from where? I said, where does the light come from? The light comes from knowing, right? Rabbi Jacob, I'm trying to think of the name of the book. Jacob Ben Shea. The book is by Jacob Ben Shea, and he wrote this great book, and it's sort of a modern Hasidic tales book, 20 years ago. He tells the story of two men afraid to set out on the journey. And so they went to their Rebbe, and the Rebbe says, well, the Rebbe says, maybe you should take a candle with you. And they said, nah, it's going to get blown out. And they said, how about a lantern? And then the other guy says, no, it's going to get blown out too. The lantern's no good, the wind. And the Rebbe said, well, I'll tell you what you should do. Just walk with each other, because when two walking together face the darkness, it is already growing light. So if I'm alone, where's the light going to come from? That may be a hard proposition, and it may be hard for me to generate that light or to know I have light inside. But if I notice the light in someone else and I can spark it, that's where the light shines. And so it illumines the path, between us. So it's about interrelationship, 100%, 100%. So what is all this about? Now we're going to go in retrospect back to the first page. Because this is really where our discussion is going to culminate, but not, because this is a continued conversation. It's the only way I know to get you back to come to the next time. Not true. What is this about? We walk through our lives, and it seems to be sort of aimless here. We walk through our lives trying to come home. We leave home trying to get home, knowing we may never reach home. And that is exactly the point of finding and growing into our most sacred selves. And so now, Larry Hoffman's definition of spirituality that may help us understand. What is he saying? Who wants to read? Go ahead, Adrian. You want to read Hoffman's definition of spirituality? Can you make that out?
Sure. Spirituality is our way of being in the world, the system of connectedness by which we make sense of our lives, how we overlay our autobiography in the making with a template of time and space and relationship that is vastly greater than we know ourselves individually to be. It is the way we dimly find our way to how we matter, the maps we use for things like history and destiny, the way we take a jumble of data and shape it coherently into a picture, the way discordant noise becomes a symphony of being, the way we know we belong to the drama of the universe. It is the wonderfully enchanting way we go on our way of growing up and growing older in the mysterious business we call life.
So what does Hoffman understand spirituality to be? Spirituality is connecting the dots along our life journey that can only be done in retrospect. It's seeing meaning after we've gone or as we are along our way. It means that when we make a life choice, we may not know exactly why we're doing it, or we may think we're doing it for a reason that actually has a higher purpose, a greater destiny, a sense of affirmation that isn't just about us. Or it may bring a light that we weren't ever aware we were even able to generate. And so the very idea of going on this journey in life in order to be able to self-actualize and become the self we're supposed to be, sometimes, even if we don't get there, what's that? It's my little thing. Hold on a second. I'm just going to shut this off. Otherwise, my meter will tell me, she takes your blood sugar, but I can't cover. All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You just interrupted me. Okay. So what is he saying to us, which I think is a key takeaway here? We try to grow into our most sacred selves. We go on the journey like Abraham and Sarah, right? We try to go, right, guided by our hearts, right? Our emotional intelligence, to become the best self we can be, to make right decisions, to know that it only isn't about becoming that doctor, but becoming a mensch in becoming a doctor, serving with a sacred presence. And what Hoffman is saying to us is what the Baal Shem said. We may be lost, or we may be veering around and wandering. When is it that we find meaning? How is it that we find meaning? We realize where we've gone, and only by realizing where we've gone and how far we've gone and grown and been challenged and surmounted and struggled, that we look back and we say, oh, now I know why. I get it. It's only in retrospect that the sacred journey comes into focus. Sometimes, by the way, it doesn't come into focus, or at least not so much, or not 100%, but that's okay too. Questions. By the way, I don't have all the answers, but I have lots of questions. So anybody have a question or a comment before I make a transition to do a preview for next time? My hope is not that you came here and found, oh yeah, Cirkman answered all my questions about growing into your most sacred self. My hope is that you think, what did he say? What did that mean again? What was that about? How did that, what, I don't know. So my hope is that you have more questions than when you came. That's the goal. Scott Reamer.
It's Fran.
I knew it was Fran. I knew, by the way, Scott did not have a question or a comment. Go ahead.
Well, I guess the one thing that I keep on sort of circling around in my own mind is that there's a leap of faith in the journey that we don't know where we're headed. To me, the spirituality is the knowing that it will bring us there.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And I think it's very Abraham and Sarah. What did God say to Abraham and Sarah? To the land that I will show you. Who here would, in their right mind, set out on a journey like that, right? To the land that I will show you. But Sheila Chervin never thought she was going to be what she was and do what she did in life. I guarantee you, because I know her story. Right? Right? And she's a blessing. So we have the ability to go on faith. And we're not really just going on faith. We're going on, gee, I got to pay the rent, right? This is really be a good career move. But there's something more motivating us. Because if it's just about paying the bills and having a profession or getting that Dartmouth degree, that might not be enough to help us grow into our most sacred self. Next time, perfect lead-in, we're going to actually study I and Thou, Martin Buber's I and Thou, and I'm going to do it a little bit with you in the German that my teacher, Nachum Glatzer, who was Buber's note taker in Germany and taught me Buber, did with me. And I'm going to actually bring my notes. I hope I find them. I find them from Professor Glatzer on my first essay on I and Thou, to show you what you don't know that Martin Buber said, which is a mind-blowing understanding of why interrelationship is everything. And that's where God dwells. You've been very patient with me. I'm going to make sure you have the handouts in your possession next time. I promise. I promise. This is cheaper. I know it's cheaper, but I feel like I don't see everybody. So how, was this okay for you guys?
Definitely.
Right? Yeah, it was okay? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for doing it, and thank you for coming. Next time we're on November 18th. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And the next weekend, let me just say this. The next day, November 19th, is the beginning of our Fall Scholar in Residence, which is Rabbi Billy Dreskin and his wife, Cantor Ellen Dreskin. It's going to be pretty cool. Billy's my best friend, by the way. All right, guys. Go home, get some sleep.
Thanks,
Good night,
Rabbi.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Great to see everybody.
Good night.
Night.
I did. I mean, I read it. I haven't even gotten back to you, but I will. I will. Night, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.